June 6th, 2019. This is the time of year when mother bobcats are tending to rambunctious kittens who have had their first taste of meat and are growing rapidly in size and appetite. As a result, she has to spend more time away from them hunting. If she's had poor luck and hours turn into a day or more, the kittens start looking for her. That's when we usually get a call about orphaned kittens. Unless there is a dead mother nearby, we don't know for sure they are orphans. That's when we have to make a tough decision. Do we suggest to the caller that they leave the kittens alone, or do we intervene? There are a lot of factors involved, such as, are the kittens in an otherwise safe environment? Can the caller observe them from long distance over time, like a couple of days? What is the body condition of the kittens? Are their calls loud and piercing or weak? On June 4th, we got 2 calls to rescue bobcat kittens. The first one was a woman who lived near a wildlife refuge and said that 2 fat, bouncy bobcat kittens had emerged from the woods near her home. She was willing and able to observe them from her windows to make sure the kittens remained fat and sassy, and will call us if that changes. She's not near major highways and doesn't have a loose dog problem in her area. It felt good to know that we had prevented a kidnapping, even though it still creates a bit of self-doubt, because you just hardly ever have the full picture of what's going on in the environment. We wanted them all to be safe and to have a good chance at survival. Their moms can do that better than we can. Our second bobcat call was an easier decision. This was from a rehabber who had a tiny, malnourished 5-week-old kitten dropped off that morning. She was so dehydrated that they were giving her subcutaneous fluids. She only weighed 1 pound, which was about half of what she should have been. Obviously, she was either very sick or had been separated from her mom for a long time. We drove to Punta Gorda to pick her up right away, and much to our delight, she ate a chick on the ride to the sanctuary. The rehab team named her Pebble, and everyone was united in their determination to bring her back to full vitality. She was so dehydrated that every time she was given sub-Q fluids, they soaked into her starved body so fast that there was no visible bubble in the skin. Pebble's next 24 hours meant monitoring constantly and frequent calls to Dr. Justin Borstein as she began to decline. What had started off in exhilaration that she was eating began to turn to dread as she refused any more food and began to act neurotic. Her head began to twist back like a stargazer, and her little pinched face seemed lost in space. Every hour she was offered a sip of water from a syringe, first sugar water in case she was suffering from low blood sugar, and then plain water based on her changing condition. No amount of veterinary intervention, dedicated intensive care, or praying was able to save Pebble, and she died around 7:45 p.m. on June 5th. Jamie reported to her bobcat team, quote, "I think we can find comfort in knowing that she had a great meal yesterday that she thoroughly enjoyed, and her last night was spent on a fluffy pile of blankets surrounded by her stuffies," unquote. We don't lose many cats until they have lived twice as long as they typically do elsewhere. Given Pebble's condition on arrival and our inability to save her, we fear there may have been something more going on with her than just being starved. We will be having a full necropsy done to find out. We know from past experience that bobcats frequently suffer neurologic disorders from mercury poisoning. That is caused in Florida by mining and cement production. Mercury gets into the waterways and is consumed by fish and other aquatic animals that end up in the bobcat's diet. The way most bobcats end up at our gate is because of the flood of people into this Florida paradise who hit them with their cars. It's sadly ironic that the cement produced to build their homes and condos is also killing our precious Florida wildcats. Later today at 4:53 p.m., I see this truck, and I take a picture. For my birthday, Howie took me to Waffle House for a pecan waffle, my favorite. And then he came home for a nap, and I rocked in the hammock by the pool for an hour and a half. Then we took the bikes to Lettuce Lake Park. On the way, this truck pulled up alongside me, and I can't help but feel it's a message from Windsong on my birthday. Howie's never been there. We did the loop 3 times and left as it started to rain. Tonight, Mom is making salmon for dinner at their Lake Keystone house. Howie bought me a couple of tiles to keep track of my keys and phone. He said I lose them all the time. I don't, but the tiles are great just in case. Jamie set up to go to a glass blowing class where we make our own wine glasses. That sounds fun. I didn't mention it in the article about Pebble because those who hate us will say we killed the kitten to have her tested for rabies. It was a sad blessing that the kitten died so soon, as she brought blood yesterday, and Jamie had to count down the days until either the kitten died and could be tested, or Jamie would have to start a series of shots for rabies. Jamie got the pre-vaccination, but you still have to take a series of them after being exposed. When she was trying to feed Pebble yesterday, around 2 p.m., the kitten had a mouthful of food but wasn't swallowing. Jamie didn't want her to choke on it and swiped it away with her finger. Just then, the kitten seemed to spring back to life and bit down. It wasn't a horrible bite, but she did hit blood, so the clock was ticking for one or the other of them. We've been using the state lab recently in Kissimmee, so today Jamie is taking Pebble's body there for testing, both to discover what led to her demise and to ensure that she wasn't carrying rabies. If you're enjoying my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. You can find other ways to connect to me over at bigcatrescue.org/Carole.Baskin.